Winners don't have easier lives. They just think differently. That's the mindset that separates them. Same problems, same stress, same pressure, but a different way of thinking. That's what makes them stronger. Winners don't give up when it gets hard. They don't wait for someone to believe in them. They don't waste time blaming others. They train their mind to stay focused, stay disciplined, and stay calm, even when life is unfair. Most people let emotions run their life. Winners don't. They build habits, stay consistent, and hold themselves to a higher standard, especially when no one's watching. This video is not about hype. It's about real mental habits that winners use every day. Watch this, and you'll learn how to build the mindset that separates you from the rest. Number 1, decide what you want and never back down again. That's where it all begins. That's the foundation. You've got to know what you're after. Not what sounds nice, not what someone else expects, what you truly want. And once you've made that decision, you don't turn around. You don't keep changing the plan every week. You don't keep asking others for approval. You don't wait until it feels good. You stay with it. You stay committed. You stay focused. Most people never get what they want because they never fully decide what they want. They keep jumping from one thing to another. They get excited for a day or two, then they quit. They try something hard, it hurts, and they run. But winners, they decide. And when they decide, they don't back down. You've got to ask yourself right now, what do I really want from my life? What kind of person do I want to become? What kind of income do I want to earn? What kind of body do I want to have? What kind of relationships do I want to build? These are not casual questions. These are questions that shape the direction of your life. And the mistake most people make is avoiding them. It's easier to avoid than decide. Because the moment you decide, the pressure starts. The responsibility kicks in. Now it's not just a dream. Now it's a demand. And if you're not ready for that demand, you'll fall back into the crowd. You'll fall back into comfort. But comfort never gave anyone a great life. What gives you a great life is the ability to decide, to mean it, and to stick to it, even when it's difficult. Now, when you decide, you must be honest with yourself. Are you deciding because you're inspired, or are you just reacting to pain? Some people say they want change, but they're only reacting. They don't like where they are, but they're not clear where they're going. That doesn't work. Winners don't just run from problems. They run toward purpose. They have a clear vision. They know what they're building. They know why it matters. This decision must be personal. It must come from your heart, not from pressure. You have to want it so badly that quitting isn't an option. You've got to get tired of being average. You've got to feel frustrated with staying the same. You've got to look at yourself in the mirror and say, I can do better than this. Not because someone told you, but because deep down you know it's true. And once you decide, here's what happens. Life will test you. The day after you decide, something will go wrong. You'll feel resistance. You'll feel tired. You'll feel distracted. And that's the test. That's the line between the people who kind of want something and the people who are going to get it no matter what. Most people walk away when it's inconvenient. Winners stay in the fight. Winners understand that growth lives inside difficulty. You see, the people who win aren't the ones with the most talent. They're the ones who stay steady when life gets messy. They show up when they don't feel like it. They train when nobody's watching. They keep their promises to themselves. They're not perfect, but they are consistent. And consistency starts with one firm decision. One clear goal. One reason that matters more than the excuses. One outcome that you don't just hope for, you commit to. And if you fall, you stand back up. If you lose, you learn. If you feel weak, you push again. Because that's how winners think. That's how they're built. They don't let fear decide. They don't let doubt run their life. They feel it, sure, but they move anyway. You have to stop living like you've got forever. You don't. You've got today. You've got right now. And your future depends on what you do with this moment. Not tomorrow. Not when you feel better. Right now, winners don't wait for perfect timing. They move while others hesitate. They act while others overthink. They get started before they feel ready. And that mindset, that ability to decide and stick, is the very thing that creates separation. That's what builds real success. Not magic, not luck. Just a decision made and followed through. And you will have to fight. You will have to fight your comfort. You will have to fight your distractions. You will have to fight your old habits. But it's a fight worth having, because once you prove to yourself that you don't back down, you earn your own respect. And once you respect yourself, your whole life changes. You talk different. You walk different. You carry yourself with belief. And that belief doesn't come from motivation. It comes from action. Every time you show up, you build confidence. Every time you keep going, you build strength. Every time you say no to what's easy and yes to what matters, you build discipline. And discipline, day after day, is the foundation of a winning mindset. People ask all the time, how do I stay motivated? That's the wrong question. You don't need motivation. You need a decision that you keep honoring. A decision that becomes part of who you are. Winners don't wake up every day excited. They wake up disciplined. They wake up determined. And they remember why they started. That's what keeps them going. And if you've backed down before, if you've quit before, that doesn't mean you're finished. That means you're human. But now you've got a chance to make a new decision. A real one. One you stick with. One you protect. One you fight for. Not just when it's easy, but especially when it's not. And if you've been confused, if you've been stuck, start small. Decide one thing that matters to you. One thing that you know you've been avoiding. One goal that scares you a little, because you know it would change your life. Write it down. Commit to it. And then start. Don't ask if it's the right time. Don't ask if it'll be hard. Just begin. Because the truth is, most people won't. Most people will keep delaying. Most people will keep touting. Most people will keep playing it safe. That's not you anymore. That's not who you want to be. You've got more inside you than that. And if you want to be one of the few who win, it starts by deciding with everything you've got and never backing down again. Not today, not tomorrow, not ever. Number 2. Do what's right, even when it's uncomfortable. Doing what's right when it's easy doesn't shape you. Anyone can do the right thing, when it feels good or when people are watching. The real test is when doing what's right feels uncomfortable. That's when most people back away. That's when people choose silence instead of truth, laziness instead of action, comfort instead of progress. But if you're serious about becoming better, you can't afford to avoid discomfort. Growth lives in the places where it's hard to show up. Winners understand that doing what's right, even when it's painful, is what builds real character and long-term success. Sometimes doing what's right means walking alone. It means saying no when everyone else says yes. It means making choices that people don't understand. And that's difficult, because we all want to feel accepted. We all want to belong. But if you spend your life doing what's easy just to avoid conflict, you end up living someone else's life. The mindset that separates winners is built in those moments when you choose principle over popularity, when you trust your own standard, not the crowd's opinion. That's what keeps your integrity strong and your future clear. There will be days when doing what's right will cost you. You might lose people. You might lose opportunities. You might be misunderstood, and it will hurt. But it's in that pain that you learn who you are. It's where you discover if your values are real or just words. Most people talk about being strong until the moment requires it. But the ones who actually live with strength don't just talk about doing what's right. They live it out when it's difficult, when it's quiet, when nobody is there to give them credit. The discomfort of doing the right thing is temporary, but the pride you earn from it stays with you. You walk different when you know you did what was right. You sleep better. You speak with more clarity. You look in the mirror and feel respect for yourself. And that matters. Because if you lose that respect, if you compromise what you know is right just to make life easier, you'll feel it. You'll carry it. And that burden gets heavier with time. It affects your confidence. It affects how you show up. That's why it's never worth it. Doing what's right doesn't always come with applause. In fact, it rarely does. Sometimes the world won't even notice. But you will. Your mind will. Your heart will. And that's the part of you that needs to stay clean. Not perfect, just honest. You don't need to impress anyone. You just need to live in a way where your actions match your beliefs. That alignment creates peace. And people underestimate how powerful peace really is. It gives you quiet strength. It helps you stay focused. And it lets you move forward without regret. Some people avoid doing what's right because they want to avoid pain. But discomfort is not the enemy. Dishonesty is. Avoiding the hard choice doesn't make life easier. It just pushes the cost down the road. The bill always comes. The longer you avoid it, the higher the price. But if you face it now, if you deal with the pressure up front, you gain something rare, real strength. Not strength from pretending or faking, but strength from proving to yourself that you can handle pressure without running from it. It's not about being perfect. Nobody is. You will make mistakes. You will slip. But the goal is to build a pattern of making the right choice even when it's inconvenient. That's how discipline is formed. That's how confidence is earned. When you do what's right often enough, it becomes part of who you are. It's no longer a big dramatic decision. It's just how you live. And when you reach that point, your life changes. You stop doubting yourself. You stop chasing shortcuts. You stop feeling the need to explain your every move to others. There's something powerful about knowing you did the right thing, even if it cost you, because that's where self-trust comes from. Most people are chasing confidence through results, but the real way to build confidence is by trusting your own decisions. And you only earn that trust by proving, again and again, that you're willing to do what's right over what's easy. That's not about having talent. That's not about being lucky. That's about choosing strength over comfort. Every time it counts. That's what separates people who grow from people who stay stuck. You don't need to wait for a big moment to practice this. You can start today. Maybe it's telling the truth when lying would be easier. Maybe it's keeping a promise you made to yourself. Maybe it's saying no to a distraction that's been holding you back. These small decisions, when done right, begin to stack. And over time, they become the reason you succeed. They build momentum. They shift your mindset. And before you know it, doing what's right isn't something you force. It becomes something you expect from yourself. Every day gives you a chance to get stronger. But that strength doesn't come from comfort. It comes from choosing what's right when it's uncomfortable. If you want to separate yourself, this is how. Not by being loud, not by pretending, but by quietly and consistently doing what's right, even when it costs you something. That's where real winners are born. Not in the spotlight, but in the private decisions made with quiet courage. Make those decisions. Keep making them. And watch what happens to your life. Number 3, take responsibility when things go wrong without blaming. When something goes wrong, the easiest thing to do is point the finger. It's a habit for most people. Blame the weather, blame the boss, blame the family, blame the economy, but none of that fixes anything. Winners think differently. They stop and ask, what could I have done better? That's a hard question. It's not comfortable, but it's necessary. When you take responsibility, you take control. You no longer wait on someone else to change. You start with you. That shift in mindset is what separates people who stay stuck from people who grow and move forward. The truth is, blame feels good in the moment. It protects your ego. It helps you avoid guilt, but over time, it becomes poison. It teaches your mind to escape instead of improve. And once that becomes a habit, you start losing power. Your results slip. Your relationships suffer. You don't even trust yourself fully, because deep down you know you're not being honest. Taking responsibility is painful at first, but it clears the path. It builds clarity. It gives you a starting point for real progress, and no one can do that work for you. You've got to want it yourself. There are people walking around today carrying years of blame, still holding on to things that happened long ago, still pointing at someone who hurt them, still using the past as a reason for their present. And while those situations may be real and painful, staying stuck in blame doesn't heal them. What helps you move is facing what happened and deciding to grow from it. Not pretending it didn't matter, but deciding you won't be defined by it anymore. Winners don't look for someone to save them. They stand up and rebuild piece by piece. When you take responsibility, you also stop waiting. You stop waiting for perfect conditions. You stop waiting for someone to understand your pain. You stop waiting for motivation to magically show up. Responsibility gives you urgency. It wakes you up. It makes you look at your routine, your choices, your patterns. It forces you to stop making excuses. And once you do that, you can make real changes. You can build new habits. You can correct your direction. But none of that happens if you're still stuck asking who else is to blame. Blame turns your energy outward. It turns your focus to things you can't control. And that makes you feel powerless. It makes you feel stuck. But when you say, "This is on me," even if just part of it is, you take the first step toward power. Responsibility brings your energy back to the one place you have full influence, yourself. You may not be the cause of every problem, but you are the solution. And that's not weakness. That's strength. That's ownership. That's how you gain confidence that no one can give or take from you. People around you will notice it too. When you take responsibility, you earn respect. Not because you're perfect, but because you're real. You don't hide behind stories. You face the situation. You speak truthfully. That kind of mindset makes you dependable. It makes you someone others can trust. And even more important, it makes you someone you can trust. When you stop blaming, you stop lying to yourself. That honesty changes how you walk, how you talk, and how you deal with pressure. It makes you stronger on the inside, and it shows on the outside. There's no progress in denial. If you're always defending yourself, you're not improving. You're protecting the version of yourself you used to be. Growth only happens when you stop defending and start adjusting. And that's what responsibility gives you. It gives you permission to grow without guilt. To say, "Yes, I messed up, but I'm learning. I'm adjusting. And I'm not going to repeat this." That's not weakness. That's leadership. It's rare. And it's the reason some people rise while others stay flat. The ones who rise take responsibility every single time it's required. There's also a kind of peace that comes with responsibility. It clears your head. You don't have to waste energy pretending or blaming. You just accept what happened, fix what you can, and move forward. And when that becomes your normal way of thinking, life gets simpler. You no longer carry the weight of excuses. You stop avoiding the mirror. You look at yourself honestly and still find the strength to move. That kind of mindset is uncommon. It's not easy, but it's the difference between living with regret or living with self-respect. One of the hardest things to do is admit when you're wrong. It bruises your pride. But that moment is also a doorway, a chance to correct something early before it turns into something worse. Winners don't avoid those moments. They step into them. They listen. They reflect. They ask questions like, "What can I learn from this? And how do I make sure this doesn't happen again?" That kind of thinking saves time, saves relationships, and builds strength. And more importantly, it gives you momentum that blame can never offer. Every time something goes wrong, you have a choice. You can complain, or you can reflect. You can blame, or you can correct. You can look out, or you can look within. That decision, repeated enough times, creates your future. If you keep shifting blame, your life will stay where it is. But if you start taking full responsibility, even when it's uncomfortable, even when it stings, you'll unlock a mindset that few people ever reach. And that mindset, quiet, steady, real, is what separates the ones who stay average from the ones who rise and win. Number 4, respect your time more than your feelings right now. Most people let their feelings decide how they use their time. If they feel tired, they delay. If they feel bored, they quit. If they feel unsure, they avoid. That's the reason their life stays the same. Winners operate differently. They understand that time is not emotional. It's real. Once it's gone, it never comes back. So instead of asking how they feel, they ask what needs to get done. They treat time like it matters, because it does. They respect each hour like it's a tool, not a toy. That mindset creates discipline and keeps them moving forward when others pause. Feelings come and go, but time only goes. It doesn't stop for your doubts, moods, or distractions. And if you keep waiting to feel ready, focused, or motivated, you'll lose years. Time is more valuable than how you feel right now. That's not cold. It's reality. Feelings are temporary, but the results of your choices stay with you. If you want a different life, you've got to protect your time from your emotions. That means showing up, even when you feel off. That means working, even when comfort says stop. That's how you grow when others drift. Your feelings will tell you to scroll, rest, delay, and quit. Your time won't say a word. It'll just disappear. Every hour wasted never returns. Every minute lost to excuses adds up. And once you realize that, your priorities change. You stop living for what feels good right now and start doing what's good for your future. That's when you start gaining momentum. That's when your days begin to work for you instead of against you. It's not about being cold, it's about being aware. Time doesn't care about your feelings. You have to care enough to use it wisely. There are people who spend their best years trapped in emotional cycles. One day they feel strong, the next day they don't. And that becomes their rhythm. They never build anything solid because they keep resetting based on how they feel. That kind of life is unstable. It's reactive. It leads to regret. But when you start respecting your time more than your temporary emotions, you take your power back. You become steady. You follow through. You don't need every day to feel perfect. You just need to show up anyway. That's how winners build trust in themselves. Every time you choose feelings over time, you lose more than minutes. You lose progress. You lose chances. You lose confidence. That's what most people don't see. They think they're just resting, when really they're reinforcing habits that make them weak. But when you flip the switch, when you say, "My time matters more than this mood," everything shifts. You begin to separate yourself from the crowd. You start to produce results that others only talk about. Not because you're smarter, not because you're luckier, but because you respect time more than your comfort in the moment. No one is saying feelings don't matter, but they don't always lead you in the right direction. They're unreliable. They change with sleep, weather, food, and stress. If your life is driven by something that's unstable, how can you expect to go far? Winners learn to feel tired and still work. They feel uncertain and still plan. They feel low and still move. That doesn't make them emotionless. It makes them strong, because they're not ignoring feelings. They're choosing not to be controlled by them. They still feel, but they don't stop living while waiting for better emotions. You don't have to feel like working to work. You don't have to feel excited to finish what you started. That's a lie. People tell themselves to avoid effort. Discipline begins where comfort ends. And it begins the moment you say, "I have goals bigger than how I feel right now." That kind of statement rewires how your brain works. It shifts your focus. You begin to ask better questions. Instead of "do I feel like it?" you start asking, "what would the best version of me do right now?" That question leads to action, not delay. The people who achieve what they want are not constantly inspired. They're not always full of energy. They're just consistent. And consistency comes from honoring your time above your feelings. It means setting a schedule and sticking to it. It means doing what matters even on bad days. That's the quiet work most people avoid. It doesn't feel great at first, but it builds strength. It builds structure. It builds a mindset that can handle pressure. And that mindset is what creates separation. That's what keeps you rising when others slow down or give up. You only get so many days in your life. You don't know how many are left. So how you spend today matters. If you give your time to emotions that pass, you'll miss opportunities that won't come back. But if you treat your time like it's valuable, even when you don't feel your best, you start building a different kind of life. One that's not built on mood swings. One that's built on purpose, direction, and real effort. And the more you live that way, the less power your feelings have over your day. You stay in control. This is how winners think. They don't waste time waiting to feel good. They understand that every day they wait, someone else is moving. Someone else is learning. Someone else is growing. And if you want to stay in the game, you have to move even when you feel slow. You have to act even when it's hard. You have to stay locked in even when it's uncomfortable. That's what separates the average from the excellent. Not talent, not luck, but the decision to respect time more than the emotions that try to steal it. Number 5. Push forward even when nobody supports your vision. Not everyone will understand where you're going. Some people won't see your vision because they've never allowed themselves to dream. Others will doubt you because they gave up on their own goals. That's reality. And if you wait for everyone to support you, you'll wait forever. Winners don't build their lives around other people's opinions. They learn to keep moving even when they feel alone. That strength doesn't come from the outside. It comes from knowing your reason is real. When the support is missing, you push anyway. That's how you earn belief in yourself, not from the crowd. There will be moments when silence hurts more than words. People close to you might ignore your progress. Friends might change the subject when you talk about your goals. Some will watch you from a distance, but never clap. and that can break a weak mindset. It makes you question your direction. But the ones who rise are the ones who keep going, not to prove anything, not to chase approval, but because they know their path matters, and that inner decision is stronger than any outside opinion. That's where personal power starts, from conviction, not validation. Most people are driven by being liked. That's why they stop when support is missing. They take silence as rejection. They take doubt as a sign to quit. But the truth is, silence is normal. Resistance is expected. And very few people will truly understand your level of commitment. That doesn't make them bad. It just means they're not you. Your responsibility is not to be accepted. It's to be consistent. You don't owe anyone an explanation for your progress. You owe yourself the effort to keep showing up, especially when no one claps for you. If you're serious about your goals, you have to stop depending on being understood. The road to real growth is often lonely. You'll make sacrifices that others don't see. You'll take steps that others avoid, and that can create distance. Some people might even question your change, but that's part of the process. Growth separates you, and separation doesn't always come with celebration. It comes with doubt, distance, and discomfort. But if you keep your eyes on where you're going, that pain turns into strength. You become stronger, not because others believed in you, but because you believed anyway. There's power in learning how to keep working, when no one is watching, when there's no spotlight, when there's no praise. That's where discipline is built. That's where character is shaped. The people who wait for applause are easy to distract, but the ones who build without recognition are the ones who last. They don't rely on noise to keep going. They rely on purpose. And when your purpose is bigger than your need to be supported, you move with a different level of focus. That's what creates separation. Quiet commitment, repeated daily, without needing attention. Support is great, but it's not required. It can boost you, but it shouldn't build you. You have to be careful not to confuse encouragement with permission. You don't need permission to chase your dream. You don't need someone else to tell you it matters. The moment you know what you want, that's enough. From there, it's your job to act. Your job to stay focused. Your job to build it step by step. Even if no one believes it will work. That's what makes the vision yours. You saw it before anyone else did. That's what makes it real. The mindset that separates winners is quiet. It doesn't need loud praise to move forward. It doesn't fall apart when others leave. It knows that vision is personal. And most people only support what they already see. So when you're building something from scratch, an idea, a body, a skill, you'll likely be alone at first. That's normal. But you don't stop. You don't slow down. You keep going, not out of anger, but out of focus. Because one day the same people who didn't believe will come back and ask how you did it. And you'll smile, knowing you never needed them. Your journey won't always look impressive in the beginning. People may think you're wasting time. They might tell you to be realistic. But if you listen to everyone, you'll start to doubt your own steps. That's why it's important to protect your mind. Stay connected to your reason. Remind yourself why you started. Write it down if you need to. Revisit it when things get tough. Because when no one is cheering, your reason becomes your fuel. And once you learn how to fuel yourself, you become unstoppable. You no longer need noise. You only need direction. You'll realize that real support isn't always loud. Sometimes it's just you making the next right choice. Staying consistent, waking up early, turning down distractions. And even though it feels like no one sees it, the results will speak. The results will echo louder than the silence ever did. But you only get to those results by pushing through lonely seasons. That's what most people won't do. They fold when it gets quiet. But not you. Not if you're committed. The path may be empty now, but one day it'll lead somewhere only the disciplined ever reach. This mindset isn't built overnight. It's built through every day you keep going. Every time you move forward without feedback. Every hour you invest with no applause. That's the training ground. That's what molds you into someone who doesn't quit just because others don't get it. And once that mindset is locked in, you no longer need the world to cheer you on. You become your own source of momentum. That's rare. That's powerful. And that's the mindset that separates winners from the rest, quiet, firm, and fully committed to the vision. even when the room is empty. Number 6. Stay consistent when results are slow and frustrating. Most people quit because they expect results too fast. They start something new, give it a few days, maybe a few weeks, and when nothing big happens, they slow down. They lose motivation. They begin to think it's not working. But the truth is, progress takes time. Change takes time. Real success never comes overnight. You have to stay consistent, even when it feels like nothing is happening. That's the moment your character is tested. When your work is quiet, when your progress is invisible, that's when winners keep going. They trust the process, even when it feels frustrating. It's easy to show up when everything's going well, when you're seeing results, when people notice your efforts, when life feels exciting. It's not hard to stay motivated. But that's not where growth happens. Growth happens in silence. It happens when the excitement wears off, and all you have left is the plan you said you'd follow. Most people give up during this stage. They think something is wrong because it's slow, but nothing is wrong. The results are just catching up to your effort. You have to give it time. You have to keep going, even without proof. Your mind will try to convince you that your effort doesn't matter. You'll hear thoughts like, "Why bother?" or "This is pointless." That's your resistance talking. That's your doubt, looking for a way out. But if you listen to those thoughts, you'll destroy all the progress you've started. Winners don't entertain those thoughts for long. They hear them, but they don't act on them. They stick to the plan. They show up on hard days. They remind themselves that slow progress is still progress. And that belief keeps them consistent, even through the hardest parts. There will be times when it feels like nothing is changing. You'll eat right, train hard, work focused, and look around and see no difference. That's when you must keep going, because something is changing. Inside you, things are shifting. Your habits are being shaped. Your discipline is being built. You may not see it yet, but it's working. That's what most people forget. Not all results are visible at first. Some show up late, some come suddenly after long periods of silence. But they only show up if you stay consistent and refuse to quit. Consistency is what makes your actions count. Without it, even the best plan fails. Without it, your hard days go to waste. But with it, every small step matters. Winners don't look for fast results. They look for habits they can repeat. They focus on showing up, doing the work, and trusting the outcome. That's not easy. It's not always exciting, but it works. And the people who get far in life are not always the smartest. They're just the ones who kept going when others didn't. They stayed the course while others changed direction too soon. When you keep showing up, despite the frustration, you build emotional strength. You prove to yourself that your effort isn't controlled by your mood. That kind of mental toughness can't be faked. It's built through hard days, slow days, and days when everything feels off. You keep going, not because it's fun, but because it's right. That inner discipline becomes your edge. And one day, when results finally show up, you'll know it wasn't luck. It was the payoff for staying steady when others walked away. That moment feels better than any shortcut ever could. You don't need to feel motivated to be consistent. You just need to follow your schedule. You don't need everything to go your way. You just need to keep your promise to yourself. That's what separates real progress from fake effort. Real progress shows up for the long run. It doesn't get distracted by temporary setbacks. It stays focused. It stays patient. And when the time is right, it delivers. But that reward only comes to the ones who earn it. You can't cheat consistency. You have to live it, one day at a time. It's not about working harder every day. It's about not giving up on the hard days. Anyone can work hard once in a while. Anyone can show up when they feel good. But winners keep moving, even when the progress is slow. They don't need outside rewards to keep going. Their reward is knowing they did what they said they would. That quiet pride builds confidence. It builds momentum. And that's what moves you forward when the results try to slow you down. Keep going, even when nothing is happening. That's where transformation begins. People give up too soon because they compare their timeline to someone else's. They see someone else win faster and feel like they're behind. But everyone's path is different. You don't need faster, you need consistent. You don't need louder, you need focused. Stay in your lane. Track your effort. Respect your pace. The results will come if you're willing to outlast the frustration. Most people don't. That's what makes consistency rare. And that's why the ones who master it stand out. They don't just work when it's fun. They work because they're committed. And that commitment never fades. You've got to ask yourself, are you doing this for results? Or are you doing this to become better? If it's just about the outcome, you'll quit when it gets hard. But if it's about who you're becoming, you'll stay the course. Even when it's slow. Even when it's lonely. Even when it doesn't feel fair. Because deep down, you know you're not just chasing change. You're creating it. And that kind of mindset, that's the one that separates people who talk from people who rise. Stay consistent. Trust the process. And the results will meet you when you're ready. Number 7. Make yourself proud before seeking anyone's approval. Most people spend too much time trying to impress others. They post for approval, speak to be liked, and make choices based on how others might react. But the truth is, no one lives with your results except you. At the end of the day, you have to look at your own reflection. You have to deal with the consequences of your actions. That's why it matters more to make yourself proud. Not your friends, not strangers. When you base your actions on self-respect instead of validation, you gain control over your life. And that control builds true confidence. Approval from others is unstable. Some people will support you one day and ignore you the next. If you depend on them to feel good, your emotions will always rise and fall. But making yourself proud is steady. It doesn't depend on attention or applause. It's built through effort, discipline, and honesty with yourself. You know when you gave your best. You know when you held back. And that inner honesty is what builds character. Winners are not chasing likes. They're chasing growth. They live in a way that brings them quiet pride, even when no one is watching. When you do something you're proud of, there's a different feeling inside. It's not loud. It's not dramatic. It's quiet and strong. It stays with you. It makes you stand taller. That's the reward of doing the right thing for the right reason. You don't need to talk about it. You just feel it. And that internal pride pushes you to keep going. It helps you stay focused when others get distracted. It keeps your standards high. Most people don't realize that inner pride is more powerful than outer approval. It lasts longer and feels better. There's nothing wrong with being liked, but it should never be your goal. Being liked can't be the reason you wake up early or work late. It can't be the reason you stick to your habits or make sacrifices. Those choices should come from your values, not from trying to look good. The moment your effort becomes about impressing others, it loses meaning. You begin to live someone else's version of success. But when you focus on making yourself proud, your path becomes clearer. You do what matters, not what looks good. That's how you stay grounded. You have to set your own standards. Decide what kind of person you want to be, what kind of work ethic you want to have, what kind of life you want to build. Then match your actions to that, not to what gets the most attention, not to what others are doing. You'll feel tempted to compare, especially when others move faster or louder. But don't lose your focus. The only real question is, did I give my best today? If the answer is yes, you're winning. And if not, adjust. Keep your eyes on your own standard, not their opinion. Seeking approval often leads to self-betrayal. You end up doing things that don't feel right just to be accepted. You stay quiet when you should speak. You say yes when you mean no. You hide parts of yourself that need to be seen. And over time, that kind of living wears you down. You lose trust in yourself. You forget what you really want. But when you live to make yourself proud, that changes. You stop shrinking. You start acting with purpose. You stand by your decisions, even when no one agrees. And that's where self-respect is born. Self-respect is one of the most powerful things a person can have. It's not given. It's earned through the small choices you make every day, through doing what you said you would, through living in alignment with your values. People who chase approval often feel empty because they're waiting for others to tell them they're enough. But you can't borrow belief. You have to build it. You have to earn your own respect by doing the work no one sees. That quiet effort creates a foundation no one can take from you. And it shows up in how you live. There's a difference between showing off and showing up. One is for applause. The other is for purpose. When you're driven by purpose, you don't need noise. You don't need permission. You just show up. You do what needs to be done. You stay consistent, and eventually people notice. But even if they don't, it doesn't shake you, because your effort isn't tied to attention. It's tied to your standard. That's what makes you unshakable. You're not chasing their reaction. You're focused on your responsibility. That shift in mindset is what separates strong from weak, focused from distracted, winners from talkers. You can't control how people see you, but you can control how you show up. You can control your effort, your honesty, your discipline. You can end the day knowing you honored your word, followed your plan, and pushed through resistance. That's what builds pride. Not fake smiles, not empty compliments, real earned quiet pride. And once you have that, you no longer need to chase attention. You have something better. You have self-belief. That kind of strength doesn't fade when people stop clapping. It keeps going, and it keeps growing, day after day, one honest effort at a time. The mindset that separates winners isn't about being admired. It's about being real. It's about making choices that you can live with. It's about becoming someone you're proud of, not just for what you've done, but for how you did it. When your actions match your values, you feel aligned. You don't live for praise. You live for peace. And that kind of peace can't be bought. It can't be faked. It can only be earned. So stop asking who approves. Ask yourself one thing: will I be proud of this tomorrow? If the answer is yes, that's enough. Keep going. Number 8. Work harder on yourself than on your job. Most people spend their whole life working hard on their job, but they forget to work on themselves. They show up on time, follow instructions, meet deadlines, but they never stop to ask, am I growing as a person? You can earn a paycheck and still feel empty if you're not developing your mind, your habits, and your character. Your job can help you survive, but working on yourself helps you evolve. If you want more out of life, it doesn't start with a better job. It starts with a better version of you. That's the real work that changes everything. When you improve yourself, every area of your life gets better. You become more focused, more calm under pressure, more consistent in your actions. You stop reacting to everything and start responding with purpose. You don't just work, you grow. And when you grow, you become more valuable. That value follows you everywhere, not just in your job, but in your health, your relationships, your goals. Too many people think life will improve when their boss notices them. But the truth is, life improves when you notice yourself and decide to upgrade the way you think, live, and show up. Working harder on yourself means looking at your routines. Are you learning something every day? Are you challenging your limits? Are you taking care of your body, your focus, your energy? Or are you just clocking in, doing what's expected, and going home tired and empty? This is not about being perfect. It's about being intentional. Your job might pay you for your time, but life pays you for your growth. The more you grow, the more doors open. And the best part, that growth is fully in your control. No one else can do it for you. You have to understand that your future depends on who you're becoming, not just what you're doing. It's easy to say I'm busy, but being busy doesn't mean you're becoming better. Sometimes we stay busy to avoid facing what really needs attention. Our attitude, our self-talk, our discipline. When you stop blaming the job, the boss, or the hours, and start looking inward, real change begins. When you start building daily habits that improve your mind and body, you stop waiting for life to get easier. Instead, you become stronger. That's how growth becomes a daily mission, not a wish. The people who stand out are the ones who develop skills beyond the job description. They learn how to communicate better. They learn how to handle pressure. They learn how to stay focused when others lose track. That kind of development doesn't happen by accident. It happens when you spend time every day working on your mindset, your knowledge, and your habits. The truth is, no one gets ahead just by working hard. They get ahead by becoming more effective. And becoming more effective always starts with self-development. It's the edge most people never invest in. When you focus on yourself, something changes inside you. You start setting higher standards. You stop tolerating bad habits. You begin to expect more from your time. You stop wasting energy on things that don't matter. Your conversations change. Your circle changes. Your future changes. But none of that happens unless you put in the work. Reading, reflecting, practicing new skills, pushing your limits. These things may not come with instant rewards, but they build something far more powerful than short-term results. They build long-term strength, and that strength is what shapes a powerful life. If your only focus is doing your job, you become replaceable. But if you become a better thinker, a better planner, a better listener, a better learner, now you're building something no one else can take from you. Your skills, your mindset, your wisdom, your discipline, these are the assets that grow with time. They multiply your value. They turn you from someone who works to someone who leads. You're no longer just doing tasks. You're thinking deeper, solving problems faster, and leading yourself with purpose. That shift doesn't happen in the office. It happens in your own time. There's a difference between surviving and progressing. A job might help you survive, but personal growth helps you move forward. If you feel stuck, don't always blame the job. Ask yourself, when was the last time I learned something new? When was the last time I challenged myself on purpose? When was the last time I sat down and asked, how can I improve who I am? These questions are hard, but they unlock the truth. And the truth is, your future depends more on the changes you make within than the changes you wait for around you. You don't need permission to grow. You don't need a course, a title, or someone cheering you on. You just need a decision to use your time better, a decision to treat your life like it matters, a decision to stop making excuses and start building habits that move you forward. Growth isn't a one-time event. It's not a New Year's goal. It's a way of life. And the people who understand that stop chasing opportunities. They create them. They show up prepared, alert, and capable because they've been working on themselves quietly and steadily. The mindset that separates winners is built on self-work. They don't wait to be trained. They train themselves. They read. They reflect. They build routines that sharpen their thinking. And because of that, they outgrow their old limits. They see further. They do more. And eventually they earn more. Not just in money, but in clarity, freedom, and strength. You can't skip this work. You can't replace it with busy effort. You can't fake it. You build it, one choice at a time. Work harder on yourself than on your job, and watch how your entire life rises with you. Number 9. Fix your attitude before chasing your next goal. Your attitude decides how far you'll go. Before you set another goal, you need to look at how you think. If you carry the same negative thinking into your next plan, you'll get the same frustrating results. Many people fail not because their goals are wrong, but because their mindset is weak. They complain too much. They expect too little. They blame others. They doubt themselves. And then they wonder why nothing works. Fixing your attitude means you stop making excuses. You stop being bitter. You take full control of how you see things and how you respond to challenges. Chasing big goals with a bad attitude is like driving with a flat tire. You might move, but you won't go far. And every bump will feel worse than it is. A bad attitude exaggerates small problems and turns minor setbacks into major blocks. But when you reset your attitude, everything looks different. You stop overreacting. You stop expecting failure. You start seeing options where you once saw obstacles. A strong attitude makes you patient, steady, and clear. That's what you need before you set another target. Not just energy, but the right mental direction. People often think they need a new strategy, but what they really need is a better perspective. If you're always angry, impatient, or doubtful, even the best goal will feel like a burden. You'll find ways to ruin your own progress. That's what a poor attitude does. It creates unnecessary resistance. But when you fix your mindset, effort feels lighter. You work with intention. You stop chasing results out of desperation and start building with confidence. Your mind becomes your strongest asset, not your biggest problem. That shift alone can change everything about how you move forward. A strong attitude is not about being positive all the time. It's about being responsible for how you carry yourself. It means you don't quit just because you're tired. You don't get jealous because others are winning. You don't let your past define your future. Fixing your attitude is quiet work. It happens when no one's looking. It shows in how you think about problems, how you treat people, and how you talk to yourself. Once that's in order, you don't just set goals. You approach them with maturity, direction, and belief. That's what real growth looks like. You can read books, take courses, and write goals every day. But if your attitude is full of doubt, frustration, or entitlement, none of that will matter. Your attitude controls your energy, and your energy decides how you act. If your actions are lazy, scattered, or forced, your results will reflect that. That's why you must fix your foundation before building something new. Don't rush to start again if your mindset is still stuck. Take a step back. Clean up the way you think. Let go of anger. Build patience. Focus on effort, not outcome. That's how goals succeed. Before you chase something big, ask yourself, can I handle discomfort without falling apart? Can I be patient without losing motivation? Can I stay calm when things take longer than expected? These questions are more important than any to-do list. They expose your mindset. And if your answers are shaky, your results will be too. Fixing your attitude builds mental structure. It prepares you to stick with the process even when it's boring, stressful, or unclear. That preparation is what makes long-term success possible. Without it, every small challenge will feel like a reason to stop. A poor attitude makes you rush. It makes you expect success too soon. It creates pressure where there should be peace. But when your attitude is right, you understand that progress is slow, effort is daily, and results come to those who stay committed. You stop needing everything to happen fast. You stop comparing. You stop quitting early. That calm mindset lets you focus fully. And focus is what builds results. Not hope, not luck, just daily attention with the right attitude. That's what brings steady movement. That's what makes every goal feel possible again. Your next goal needs a better version of you, not just a new plan. If your attitude hasn't changed, your outcome won't either. Look at your patterns. Do you give up when it's hard? Do you blame when it's slow? Do you expect others to carry your weight? If so, stop and fix that first. Goals don't solve internal problems. They expose them. The best thing you can do for your next goal is to grow mentally before moving physically. That's where the real work begins. Not in action, but in preparation. Not in motion, but in mindset. A strong goal with a poor attitude is like building on sand. It might look good at first, but it won't last. Don't just chase big dreams. Build the mindset that can support them. That means taking control of your focus, managing your emotions, choosing your thoughts wisely, and refusing to let setbacks control your pace. These things matter more than plans. They decide how you handle failure, boredom, and stress. And when you master that, you become someone who finishes. Someone who doesn't need perfect conditions to win. Someone who pushes through because their attitude leads, not follows. Fixing your attitude doesn't take years. It takes intention. A decision to stop thinking like a victim. A decision to stop reacting and start responding. A decision to stop chasing comfort and start choosing discipline. Make that decision before chasing anything else. It will save you time, pain, and regret. With the right attitude, even slow progress feels meaningful. You stay connected to the process. You show up with purpose. And you don't stop just because results are delayed. That's the mindset that separates winners. It's not louder. It's not luckier. It's just stronger. Because it's built from within. Number 10. Say no to comfort and yes to discipline. Comfort feels good in the moment, but it does nothing for your future. It keeps you stuck in routines that don't challenge you. It makes you choose the easy way out. And the longer you stay comfortable, the harder it becomes to grow. Discipline is the opposite. It's uncomfortable, but it moves you forward. It forces you to do what needs to be done, even when you don't feel like it. That mindset builds strength over time. If you want a better life, you have to stop choosing what feels easy and start choosing what actually makes you better. The problem with comfort is that it lies to you. It tells you to rest when you need to push. It tells you to delay when you need to act. It tells you there's no rush, even when time is slipping away. That's how people lose years. They wait for the right feeling, the right mood, the right moment. But discipline doesn't wait. It moves anyway. It shows up on bad days. It pushes through resistance. It doesn't ask how you feel. It asks what matters. That mindset is hard, but it's honest. And it's the only path that leads to change. Most people want results, but they don't want the discipline that creates them. They want progress without pressure, growth without effort. success without sacrifice. But it doesn't work that way. Every strong body, sharp mind, and solid career is built on discipline. It's built on doing small things right over and over again. You can't replace that with shortcuts. You can't fake your way into real progress. Discipline gives you something comfort never can. Pride. Not the loud kind. The quiet kind that comes from knowing you showed up, followed through, and didn't quit when it got hard. When you say no to comfort, you take control of your time. You stop wasting hours on useless things. You start making better choices. You begin to plan your day instead of drifting through it. You train your mind to focus. You train your body to move. You train your habits to work in your favor. That's how your life begins to shift. Not through random effort, but through daily discipline. You don't need perfection. You just need consistency. Comfort will never give you that. It gives you temporary relief and long-term regret. Discipline gives you the opposite. Hard now, but worth it later. Your brain will resist discipline at first. It wants what feels safe. It wants to stay where things are predictable. But nothing great happens there. You don't grow from doing what's easy. You grow from pushing limits, from learning how to stay calm under pressure, from showing up when it's boring, not just when it's exciting. That's what builds mental toughness. And that toughness isn't loud. It's quiet. It's steady. It's the part of you that keeps moving even when no one's watching. That's what separates people who reach their goals from those who only talk about them. Discipline gives you freedom. It may not feel like it right away, but it does. When you control your actions, you control your results. You stop living in reaction mode. You stop blaming others. You start building momentum. Every day you stick to your habits. Your confidence grows. You trust yourself more. You stop needing motivation because you've trained yourself to act. And that kind of life feels better than any comfort ever could. It gives you purpose. It gives you direction. It gives you peace. Comfort gives you none of that. It only steals your time and energy. You won't always feel like doing the hard things. That's normal. But you have to stop letting feelings run your life. Discipline means you do what matters whether you feel like it or not. That's the real shift. That's the moment when you start moving differently. Not because someone told you to, but because you've decided who you want to become. That decision changes how you spend your mornings, how you handle pressure, how you show up when no one reminds you. That's the difference between a life that stays the same and a life that transforms. Every time you choose discipline, you build strength. Every time you ignore comfort, you build control. Every time you show up when it's hard, you earn respect, not from others, from yourself. And that self-respect changes everything. It makes you walk with confidence. It makes you raise your standards. It makes you stop accepting less than you deserve. But none of that happens if you keep choosing comfort. It will always be easier to quit, skip, or avoid. But those easy choices come with a cost, and eventually you feel it. You feel the gap between who you are and who you could be. You don't need to be the best. You just need to be committed. You don't need everything to be perfect. You just need to stay consistent. You don't need to feel strong all the time. You just need to keep showing up. That's what discipline looks like. It's not loud. It's not dramatic. It's steady. It's quiet. It's repeated. And it works. Over time, it builds a life you can be proud of. Not because it came easy, but because you earned it. You put in the work when no one was watching. You chose discipline, and that made all the difference. The mindset that separates winners isn't about working harder than everyone else. It's about working harder on the days when most people give in. It's about saying no to comfort when it tries to take over. It's about reminding yourself that the hard road leads to the best destination, that nothing meaningful is built in ease, and that your life will only change when you start making different choices, not someday, but today. So say no to comfort, say yes to discipline, and watch what happens when you commit, stay focused, and refuse to settle for less than you're capable of. Now you know what truly separates winners. It's not luck, it's not talent, it's mindset. It's how you think when things get tough. It's how you act when no one's watching. And it's the choices you make every single day when comfort tries to pull you back. If you want to rise, start training your mind to think stronger, act sharper, and stay disciplined. Don't wait for the perfect time. Build the mindset now. Because once your mindset changes, your life will follow. Stay focused, stay consistent. And remember, winners are built from the inside out. It starts with how you think.